Okay, guys. So as promised, we're live. Myself and Gavin. Now, Gavin and myself, we do these Facebook Lives regularly in our own private little Facebook groups. How it works in the gym is all of our sort of semi-private members, personal training clients, get access to what we call, just a coach or a bit of a mentor or someone to guide them. Lifestyle coach is the name that we use, but you can call it whatever you want. And the aim of this coach, or Gavin and his group, me and my group, is just to give some guidance to people and just to make sure basically they're doing what they should be doing on a consistent and daily basis. Gav, is anything you'd add to that?
No, it's spot on. It's like it just gives us a chance to work with them individually, see how they're doing one-to-one. So we check in with them every week, and then we can cover a broad range of stuff where we can see people are maybe struggling or they have questions in certain areas, and then people just get a lot of information and everyone's on the same page then as well. So
yeah. So we do these, I did one last night in my group. You normally do this in your group, but we thought today what we would do is, try and kill two birds with one stone, get some content up on the SOS group. We can answer people's questions, obviously, privately. They don't need to know who's answering them. Everyone that has answered those questions can get the answers, but hopefully other people out there can potentially benefit as well.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll start off with a nice easy one. I know Mike's a keen runner, and in his group, he's asked you if you had to do if you personally had to do an endurance event, what would it be? What would you potentially be interested in, maybe in the future? Would it be a half marathon, a marathon?
Well, I've done 2 half marathons in my time, so to be honest,
half marathon being cancelled today. Is that right?
Oh well, I definitely can't do it then. Here we go.
Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, I've done 2 in the past. I think the quickest time it was like 140. I think I did.
Yeah.
So it's not, to be honest, it's not. I haven't got any type of endurance races or anything like that in mind that I want to do. But if you held a gun to my head, I think, just to be honest, the 10K for me is fine. Like,
yeah,
long enough. It's a good, decent distance.
Yeah.
I've got no desire to do half marathons or marathons or anything like that. But
I did the half last year, and I didn't really, but I hated the training because I did a lot of it on a treadmill. Don't ask me why, but I think it was dark, it was wet, it was windy, obviously.
Yeah.
I just found it easier just to jump on a treadmill. I didn't have Strava and that kind of stuff then, but I went for a little run last night, did a little lap at the Millennium Stadium from the bay, and it was nice keeping my heart rate in that sort of zone 2. And I think if you do have the data and you can see things going in the right direction, it is addictive.
Yeah, it's nice. It's, especially when you are looking at the data. I've got a few of my in my group looking at. It's mainly for health markers, to be honest, in terms of why they're doing the sort of the low zone heart rates. I'm doing it myself at the minute because obviously we're on lockdown. I haven't got the squat rack in the house and stuff, so I'm just taking advantage of working the aerobic systems, which I haven't done for years, to be honest. And like I say, my resting heart rate's down in the high 40s now.
Yeah,
I'm able to recover quicker between sets when I am doing weight training, so I can keep the same weight there. So do you know what I mean? I'm able to recover quicker. I'm able to get going again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's working well. So that's going to set me up nicely then. So when we do get back in the gym, I can start cranking it up a little bit more. Maybe do a little bit more interval training. I'm going to see what I can do. For my test, I want to make sure I can keep on top of my 2,000 meter row.
Yeah.
So especially if you're looking like your VO2 max and stuff. I've got a pretty decent VO2 max on there, so I want to see if I can improve that. It's just a general little kick up the ass for me to make sure I'm staying healthy,
Yeah, perfect. So I'm enjoying seeing my readiness. We both wear the Aura ring. It's nice seeing your resting heart rate come down. And what I like to see as well is how, when you train really, really hard, like when I do my squat 1 workout, which those of you that train in SOS will know, squats, either a split squat or a lunge, a leg curl variation, a step up, and then an RDL or some form of hip hinge. The next day, my heart rate is a lot higher. I'm very stressed out, and it's good to see that. And it makes you wonder if normal people had this sort of data available, whether they would train as hard as they do, because a lot of people do a lot of HIIT training, and it's great to see that doing less is actually beneficial for your health.
Yeah, exactly. So the catch-22 as well, because with your weight training, this is the benefit of periodization and looking at what you are actually training for in terms of the goal. So it's like, well, if I do train something with that volume on lower body, I do still want that. I still want to put my body out of sort of balance. So you're enabling your body to adapt to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then how well you can recover from that. And once your body's adapted to it, you have to change the stimulus. So it's basically you're training your body to adapt to a stimulus.
Yeah.
So the problem is with the interval training and doing sort of just continual weight training as the main thing, and potentially not looking at these other markers is then health as well. So there's like things in terms of heart health. We're going to cuss. I think there's a question on cardiovascular disease and all that type of stuff later on from somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking at the markers in terms of where your resting heart rate is, and that's a good blood pressure as well. That's the one indicator of good health. That's one thing that people underestimate. And looking at if we do weight training for an extended period of time and we only do weight training, we just totally forget about the aerobic benefits of training as well. We do end up with sort of a mismatch between certain hypertrophy zones within the heart in one of the parts of the heart, where you can have sort of more thicker heart muscle there. So basically, the thicker it is on the inside, the less volume of blood you have in that chamber of the heart. So now your blood pressure can start to get out of whack. Your resting heart rate starts to go up. Do you know what I mean? So now,
isn't it? Because the old school thought was the cardio. We were taught when we've been in this game a long time. The steady state cardio makes you fat. And we were taught that on courses not to do it. And it's very interesting to see how the tide has turned over the last sort of 15 years since we did our first sort of courses back then.
Yeah, and you have to take your context too, I think, because looking back, I know Charles was a big the proponent of saying like you don't need to do cardio and blah 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 blah. But you have to remember, one, he was basing a lot of his information off athletes, strength athletes for sure. So his goal was to get his athletes as strong as possible in as quick a time as possible, because he had time restraints on it too. But you have to remember, a lot of his stuff came from, I think, Schmidt-Pleger and those people. So in terms of strength and speed development, 100%, like the aerobic stuff is going to take them further away from getting the goal of maximal strength for them in terms of winning their medals and stuff at the Olympic Games and all that type of stuff. But if you look at it from a health point of view, if you let and this, I've only just recently gone back through some stuff. I remember some notes years ago, back in 2010, I think, and Charles actually advocated steady state training for Gen Pop to lose weight. So people that had a lot of weight to lose, there was a progressive nature to actually use aerobic training. And I don't think this came out quite a lot in terms of that. So you have to take it into context. So if it's athletes and stuff, he would maximize the anaerobic style stuff because that was their thing. But Gen Pop, if they had a lot of weight to lose, if you're training somebody with a lot of body fat, then he would actually, there's actually stuff back in 2010 where he advised sort of steady state aerobic training. It was like a sequential thing into it. Into intervals.
So Josie's asking, are you going to do a 40-mile hike with her?
Jesus Christ, I'd be in bed after that. I remember doing 40 miles. Jesus Christ, Jose. How long is that going to take me? Bloody hell.
I think it took her and Christine all day. I know Christine. I know all of Christine's toenails fell off after, so I don't want to do that.
You're not selling it to me, Sam. I tell you what, if she brings chocolate cake, I'll do it.
So the next question we got is, why has Gav not shaved his hair yet?
Oh, mate, there's uproar in this house.
Okay. And Matt said, get that hair gone. He said, and Casper's actually saying, the poll said 68-32 for a haircut.
I'll see you at the end of the day.
You might have to get a Facebook Live going on the SOS page and you shaving your hair. I know Beth's not too happy about it.
To be fair, I don't mind. I don't really care. I'll just rip it off. The quicker it is for me to get up and out in the day, I'm happy.
But mate, you also grow back. Mine won't. That's the problem. And Josie's saying it took 13 hours.
13 hours, yeah. Bring cake and coffee. Sorry.
And Charlotte is saying that she doesn't think you'll do it because you stand her up for the 5K park run.
5K park run. Oh,
so God. Getting back to the data, Lana's asked, is there anything else she can do to see faster results? Now, I know and you know that Lana's results at the minute are really fast. I think she dropped 3 kilos in the last 2 weeks, which is amazing. Yeah. But lots of clients, they want to see results even quicker. And some things we can potentially do, but sometimes it isn't worth the the extra effort, you know. So do you want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's like, so to be honest, Lana we did discuss yesterday after the post in our group. We message each other every morning. I want to see what her data is every day. I want to see how she's done through the day. So twice a day, we'll at least exchange messages to see how she's doing. So once in the morning, once in the evening, before the phones go off, type of thing. And we had a good, honest discussion of like, she's doing really well, you know. So in terms of speeding it up, she can drop a few more calories. She does well around where I'm going to take her next. She does really well. She's not doing anything sort of anaerobic at the moment anyway. I don't want to go in down that avenue.
Yeah.
At the moment, I want to build up a few things with her health markers. So if we look at what we've done in the last 2 weeks with Lana in terms of her health markers, I wanted to see her resting heart rate come down quite a bit. So she was waking up in the morning with a resting heart rate of 80 when we first started. She's down to like 62 now.
Yeah.
So it shows it's working really well. Now, what we're also doing with her is with the steady state stuff, she's doing 60 to 90 minutes a day of steady state. And even that, like that's walking, but her heart rate's hitting like 144 in a walk. Like that's.
So all she's doing is walking at the moment?
Yeah, just walking. So in that term, just walking, ideally I don't want your heart rate going that high. That's teetering into like using glucose just for a walk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we shouldn't be, when we're doing low steady state stuff, we shouldn't be entering those zones to use glucose for that. We want to be using fatty acids. Now, what can be happening here is with Lana, with what we want to build up in terms of this phase of training for her is more mitochondria. We want to build up the ability to burn more ATP or to make more ATP. Because as she release, to be honest, most people's problems isn't releasing the fatty acid. It's just getting rid of the fatty acids, burning them off. So what I'm trying to do is build up all of the mitochondria to help burn that off as it's coming through into the cells, type of thing. And we're maximizing that with a calorie deficit, low steady state stuff, but I want her heart rate a little bit lower.
And how are you, obviously there's other people tuning in now. I think we got 25, 30 people on the call. How are you getting Lana to measure her heart rates? So
Polar H10, she'll wake up in the morning, she'll put the strap on around the chest. She'll open up Elite HRV and she'll just send me her data based off that. So it's a morning readiness score, so I can see a morning heart rate. And when she walks,
the H10 strap links to the app, the HRV app, yeah.
Elite HRV app, yes, correct. And then she'll also download Polar Beat, which is, so 2 of these apps are free. All you have to do is pay for the strap, the H10 strap.
Yeah.
And then when she goes for a walk, she just puts the heart rate strap on, and then she can just press play, link it to the Polar Beat app, and she's away, and that'll give her an accurate reading of what her heart rate's doing through that.
And is the HRV app very similar to what we would get on the Attorre ring? Is it the same data in theory?
Yes, similar data. I've actually done both, and it's pretty spot on in terms of where it is. Like, I'll wake up in the morning, my heart rate's around 52 on the Attorre, and then I'll put on the strap, and it's around 54. So I've actually got up, I've got the strap, put it on. So
I go on here. So there we go. That's the H10 strap, yeah?
Yep.
So H10 strap, you put it around there, links to the app, and it's going to give you all your data in terms of your heart rates. So Joe said is the best purchase ever. So if anyone wants more information on that, guys, let us know and we can do a blog post on it.
So same thing with Josie though, right? So she was going out walking.
Yeah.
Because like Josie did the hike and she's used to walking. She was doing a walk, which is pretty fast. Like she thought the faster the better, right? So she's going through a walk. Now, based off your max heart rate, you can do it by age and all that type of stuff. Based off max heart rates, Josie was nearing like high for where she was for a walk.
Yeah.
So she's basically anaerobic, doing a walk, right? Just thinking it's health markers, right? And I said, Josie, you want to be bringing that right down.
Yeah.
So he was hitting like 130 on a walk. And Josie, I messed her age up the other day, so I'm not going to mess it up again because she'll kick my ass. But so she shouldn't be getting that high on a walk. So basically, I thought to slow it down, and we averaged around 95 beats per minute.
Perfect.
Yeah. Walk 30, and then her heart rate dropped. sleeping better. Do you know what I mean? So you're recovering much better.
Yeah, it's like I don't train on a Wednesday, but I went for like a little run last night, just 45 minutes, and I had to actually slow down. It tells me to slow down.
Yeah,
you know, it's great. I woke up this morning and my readiness score is great, so that's good. Right, we've got some more questions in. How many times per week is the most you can work any muscle to failure if you are looking for muscle building? Old school bodybuilding suggested once per week, so the old school sort of bodybuilding split. But more recently, even bodybuilders seem to have gone to twice a week or more frequently. Gareth's asking for a mate with skinny arms.
A mate, he's on about himself probably. Is he? On arm training. So yeah. Okay, we have to remember a couple of things. One, Gareth's doing a lot of aerobic training, so he wants to do a marathon. So typically when you start to do that, the body can start to use muscle as well. It can start to break things down in terms of muscle too for energy. And some things you'll notice is the limbs will start to break, to get smaller initially, especially the arms in terms of runners. So you can obviously stimulate those, but you have to make sure your calories are in the right place as well. If you want to start maintaining muscle mass on the arms and things. But in terms of the amount of volume, you have to remember the old school bodybuilders that were hitting it once a week, they were doing massive amounts of volume in terms of like the amount of sets per muscle group.
That's like 42 sets sometimes, right?
30, 40 sets. So, and you have to remember as well, they're on extra help to recover from that too. So we like to do like twice a week. So that'd be your basic upper body, lower body split. Now, in terms of maintaining muscle mass and even growing muscle too, you can go as low as between 8 to 10 sets per week. So let's say Gareth comes in, and I've had a conversation with Gareth as well in terms of what we're going to do for him because he wants to get a marathon out of the way. I'd say, look, if you're going to really maximize the run, you could run 4 or 5 times a week and still get away with once or twice a week strength training and maintain or even maximize muscle mass, right? So even twice a week, I can make sure I hit enough sets to stimulate muscle growth. Like if he's doing 12 to 16 sets a week, that's huge. That's fine. That's totally enough to maintain. Yeah. You could still use 8 to 10 sets. Do you know what I mean? So that's.
But at the same time as well, I think when it comes to the sets, is making those sets count, right? You know, it's no good going in. Those sets need to be stimulated. They need to be close to.
In terms of muscle mass, you're looking at the last like 3. I think if you look at the studies, like Chris Beardsley's good with in terms of his hypertrophy stuff. Lyle McDonald, when they look at the science, it's pretty much the last like 3 to 5 reps that have to be stimulating.
Yeah,
it's very close to that failure point in terms of that. So
is leaving sort of 1, 2, maximum of 3 reps in reserve per set.
Potentially, yes, but then you still want to get to that point, and it's technical muscular failure.
Yeah.
So it's not getting failure and just using other things to get the job done. It's going to the point where you physically cannot contract that muscle.
Yeah.
Right. So you can do that with, it's been shown to 30% 1RM. The problem is you've got to do 50 reps to do it together, and nobody's got time or the sheer mental capacity to just pump 50 reps out. So that's why we've gone to, even in our bodyweight training, where we're utilizing tempo and pauses and isometrics and all that type of stuff, because we can stimulate that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in going back to his question, you can get away with like maintaining or improving on 10 sets a week for the muscle group. So you don't have to do once a week training. You can do 3-4 times a week for that muscle group.
Yeah.
Twice a week is pretty standard if you're going to do your upper body, lower body split, though. That's an ideal one that we use with our clients that can do strength training 4 times a week.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, certainly I think it would be better for people like Gareth to train a muscle group more frequently. And I know a lot of bodybuilders like John Meadows, for example, when he wants to grow his arms, rather than training arms once a week and doing an arm session, he will do some sort of arm work or direct arm work every day. Which is, yeah.
High frequency has been really good. You have to remember you have to recover from that. So that's where the sets go down then, right? Yeah. So the more frequently you train, the less sets you're going to do. But across the week, the sets would pretty much match up. So for Gen Pop, I would say probably max you're looking at 20 sets a week.
Yeah, perfect.
20 sets.
Okay, so Mike has asked, can you build muscle by running? So I think you've answered the question that you can maintain muscle mass by going to the gym while running, but can you actually build muscle when running?
No, I would say no.
It's best just to say no on it, because it's going to be very difficult to do that. If you did do it, I think you'd have to be sprint training. You'd have to probably be looking at hill sprints where you're working the legs in that sort of lactate. You know,
you want no oxygen going there. You want fast as hell, fast twitch fibers. And to be honest, if you're looking at muscle, you need progressive overload, and weight training is the best way to do that.
Yeah, it would be very different. I think beginners could potentially lay down some muscle tissue with like hill sprints and stuff, but we're talking about beginners. You know, they could get bigger arms. You know, doing bicep curls with a pint of beer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's with us. So Charlotte's asking, VMO, variable muscle action. I think she means VMA. VMO.
No, VMO. So on our session the other day, I said, right, we want to make sure we're working the VMO. And she's like, what's the VMO? And I sort of laughed and sort of explained it.
Okay, so are we talking about variable muscle action, or the vastus medialis oblique muscle, or the quad?
Vastus medialis oblique.
Okay, the quad, okay.
Yeah, so we're trying to strengthen that up for Charlotte because she's a runner. We want to improve her running and things. So we want to make sure structural balance is there. Now for females, so we want this in general for runners for sure. So we want to make sure that knee is stable, especially for running where the foot hits the ground. You want that knee stability so the knee's not diving in and causing an irritation to the knee. So we want that as strong as possible. So the other muscles around that, we want to make sure the calves are strong as well. So the gastroc strong, so that crosses the knee. So that's going to increase stability. And obviously the knee flexes across the knee. So we want all of those in place. But in terms of the VMO, it's like the little teardrop muscle that you see around the inside of the knee, right? So the problem is people look at that and you can sort of stimulate down a leg extension and just really isolate that in. But if we look at where that muscle actually goes, it actually goes to the lateral part of the hip, right? So putting it into a step up position, which we're training at the moment with Charlotte at home, you actually train the foot. So she's basically got a heel supported. And
a heel elevated step up, yeah?
Yeah. So a heel supported step up where her big toes into the ground. She's bending through the knee, the opposite leg's going forward, and she's getting that knee forward. She's staying as upright as she can, and she's contracting through the VMO, and she should feel the lateral part of the hip as well. Yeah. So basically now you're syncing all of these three parts up. So she's getting the foot, the knee, and the hip going. Yeah. And one of the days we'll look at side step ups as well, so she can target the glute medius and minimus a bit more. But that knee VMO is to help stabilize that knee and allow it to stop sort of internally rotating excessively. It will internally rotate a little bit when you run, but excessively. And the main thing for females as well, they will have more of what you call the Q angle. So because of sort of childbearing hips and things, the wider the pelvis region for females, the more of a Q angle. So the more angle they have for that femur coming in and potentially driving in more for the knee. So we especially want to make sure that VMO is really strong, especially when it links up with the hip.
And it's important as well for full like vastus medialis oblique development. You want to work it in the top range and the bottom range, right? So top range will be like your inertia squats, your step ups, and your bottom range then will be your lunge, your split squats. Things like that
as well, yeah, for sure, 100%.
So,
top 15.
So Victoria's asking, how seriously should we take the recommended maximum heart rate? I am not young, and in theory shouldn't exceed 150 to 160, but I get up there pretty quickly. So again, I think this is exactly the same as we see it with a lot of clients where they're working, they're burning glycogen, they're working anaerobically, doing normal everyday shit.
Yeah, and you don't want to be there. Like, so that's just a sign that you need to do a little bit more condition and bring your fitness up. So that's a good way of doing that.
So Victoria, what we would recommend is more aerobic work for you. Like Gavin has said with Lana, like we've used with a lot of our members, it sounds like to me that you're very stressed out. You might not feel stressed, but the fact that your heart rate is so high and you're having to burn carbs for fuel all day, that is a health concern,
So you have to remember as well remember the heart is still a muscle, so you can train it, right? So you can train it to work at higher levels. So at the moment, when I did the row test, I did a 2,000 meter row. My VO2 max came out well for my age. So I'm 40 this year. My VO2 max was on the excellent range. I finished the 2,000 meters in 7 minutes 39. I thought I had coronavirus afterwards. So I was coughing all day. I thought I was going to die. Like the row, the 2,000-meter row, all out as quick as you can. 2,000 meters is horrendous.
Yeah.
But saying that, my max heart rate only got to like 171.
Yeah.
So that's showing me I can start to work on actually working more anaerobically to bring it up. But first, I want to work on aerobics to bring my heart rate down. So I've now got a bigger pool and reserve before I reach the max heart rate. Now, in 3 weeks, I was actually on a run the other day. Now, run to row is different. But on a run, there were so many people out. It was really hot.
Yeah.
And obviously the heat's going to make your heart rate work a little bit more, right? Because dehydration and plasma and all that stuff. We'll cover hydration in a bit. But your heart rate's going to be elevated a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I couldn't keep it down. I was like, right, sod it. I'm going to maximize it now. I'm still going to work hard, and I'll work my max heart rate as high as I can.
Yeah.
But I'm going to allow my resting heart rate to come down to dictate my recovery. So basically, I'd flat out sprint for 60 seconds, get my max heart rate up, and I hit 181. So I can get my heart rate up a little bit more now, but I gave myself enough rest to let my heart rate come back down to 115.
Yeah.
That's when I started jogging again, build it up to like 130, and then boom, I went for the sprint again. So if you look at the overall session, it's still aerobic. So I was still like average heart rate 129, I think.
Yeah.
But I was training my heart rate to work to maximum as well. So there's different ways you can run it.
So with Victoria, obviously a question, we just want to, your heart rate is normal for it to go up there. It's very common, or I should say, Victoria, that your heart rate goes that high, that quick. It's very common in the UK these days, but it isn't normal. That shouldn't really be happening. Just because it's common, it
so a little bit more aerobic work.
Okay, so Baby's asking, does some medication make your heart rate higher? Like ask for medication. And I want to add to this. My HRV on a Monday, even when I eat well or eat a little bit, not as good as the week, but on the grand scheme of things, it's okay. I drink a lot of Coke Zero on a weekend, okay? Yeah. On Monday, my heart rate variability was better when I didn't have Coke Zero. Do you think that has an impact on resting heart rate?
It can do. Like there's not, potentially. Now, I speak a lot to Eric.
Yeah.
He's helping me a lot with Beth and things.
Yeah.
And his thoughts on diet drinks and sweeteners and stuff. Yes, it's not going to sort of be a detrimental effect in terms of just drinking Diet Coke.
Yeah.
But he recommends if you do have blood sugar issues and have an effect where, because you're getting that sweet taste, it will in fact raise insulin, which then impacts blood sugar further down the line. So it won't have a direct blood sugar impact, but because it will raise insulin, potentially for people, it will then swing back and bring your blood sugar up further down the line a little bit later on, type of thing. So that's the reason
I've done 2 runs like in the low zone, and the first time I did it was on, I was drinking a lot of Coke Zero around the time. It's about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We always have them in the house, so we did have them in the house, and it was getting me to walk a lot. The next time I did the run, which is a week or 2 later, same intensity, I was able to hold that pace, and it wasn't asking me to walk. So I ran further in the 45 minutes. So I was wondering, I've seen a difference. I don't know whether it is that. Who knows? But
and then so you have to, and that's the thing, which you have to. The thing I try and keep in mind when I look at studies, the studies are there to give us information. They're not 100%. You still have to look at the individual in front of you as well.
Yeah.
So what am I applying to this person, and what is the information I'm getting back from them, and how do I move forward with that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So Jackie's asking, if I ask Zoe, will she be able to explain this heart rate thing more slowly so I can understand what to do about my high heart rate? Yes, you will probably need a H10 strap though, Jackie, because this is a tool you're going to need to actually measure it. So
let me know and I'll come and put it on for you, girl, all right?
Yeah, we can do it in our topless Zoom session, Jackie. All right. James is asking, are there such things as good cooking oils? Yesterday, making my omelette, I used a touch of rapeseed oil. It was perfect, no sticking. Today, I've used the 1-cal spray and it's not as pleasant looking. Any tips on good items to use for cooking with minimal amount of calories?
To be honest, if we're looking at, I think Charlotte asked about sort of oils as well.
Yeah.
So you could probably try this in as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Got a Charlotte question as well, Sam.
So she said, following on from James's Kidwell, more of a health question than weight loss. Can you talk about olive oil, EVOO, and associated benefits for CVD and CHD? All the studies I read suggest that this oil is worth including, like half a tablespoon per day. Do you think the Mediterranean diet is good from a health perspective, and are there better oils in your opinion?
Okay, so we'll use that first, and then we'll go on to James's one as well.
Yeah.
So olive oil has been shown to have amazing effects for health. When you're looking at cardiovascular disease and coronary heart disease, the CVD and CHD stuff.
Yeah.
You look at, basically you want to obviously minimize the saturated fats coming in. We do still need some saturated fats as well in the diet. We do need a good balance of everything, really. But when you're looking at improving those markers in terms of heart health, you want, from looking at studies and things, you want to be making sure that monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats are making up the majority of the fatty acids that are coming in.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of olive oil, there's 70% monounsaturated. So monounsaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, you call them MUFAs and PUFAs if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But you want to be bringing them up in the diet really well. And the Mediterranean diet does use more of those fats than saturated fatty acids. So I like the Mediterranean diet. When you break it down and you start to look at all different diets, all that type of stuff, the Mediterranean diet always really does well in terms of health.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like olive oil a lot. It's been shown to have very good anti-inflammatory purposes, antimicrobial, anti-cancer cell stuff to it. There's loads of studies if you want to PubMed, and you can take a look at that. But yes, a great oil to use. I think Greece, Spain, and Italy are the top countries that use it a lot. Greece being number one, I think, for production. So yeah, I do like olive oil. Now in terms of cooking with it, it's got a high smoking point, I believe, but I still like to use lower heat with the olive oil if I use that. But it's good. Olive oil is pretty decent for cooking. I'm not a fan of, if you look at the 1-cal sprays, they're good in terms of controlling calories. So I look at it this way: what part of the spectrum are you working on, right? So if your main priority is to work on calories, use the 1-cal cooking spray because it's going to be easy for you.
Yeah.
Right. If you control your calories much quicker, you can bring your body fat levels down quicker in terms of that. Then look at foods or oil quality after that. Because if you look at, there's olive oil 1-cal sprays, there's butter 1-cal sprays, there's coconut oil 1-cal sprays. If you look at the ingredients list, there's only 30% of that oil in there. The rest is sunflower oil.
Yeah.
So in terms of anti-inflammatory properties, it's not doing you any good if you're looking to improve your inflammation markers.
Yeah. Okay.
There's more sunflower oils in there, 70%.
Well, I think like it all comes down to, like, calories are probably the most important thing, right? In terms of bringing levels down. So you need to manage calories. But then if you do have room within your diet to, start using olive oil and things like that, then it's great. I put a post in my group today because one of the girls has been smashing chia seeds, and chia seeds are fantastic, but I don't think she realized the high amount of calories in them, so it's important to gauge that.
Yeah, exactly. So like I say, calories, what part of the spectrum you're on. If your calories are in check, and then you're looking to start to look at those impacts on anti-inflammatory markers and all that type of stuff, then olive oil can be good to use. As long as you have to remember it's an oil, so it's easy to just place in a pan and put in 50 grams of oil, and then your calories are out of whack. You know what I mean? So you have to make sure you're using them out. So I put a post up this morning in terms of what I had for breakfast. I used buffalo mince, I had broccoli, but I used like 10 to 15 grams, maximum 15 grams of olive oil.
Yeah.
Very small amount I use for cooking. Yeah. Pretty decent.
Bevy's asking, how do I get one of these? I've just put a link, guys, on the page on here. So there's a link to this strap if you want to get it. Okay, I've put a link on there. So anyone who wants to get a H10 strap, click on that, and you can get it, Bevy. Okay, and then Gav can teach you how to use it. So Victoria's asking, are Fitbits? I'll answer this one. Are Fitbits no good for accurate heart rate? No, horrendous, Victoria. They are awful because basically this is going to go on your heart. It's measuring your heart rate. It's going to go where it needs to measure. The Fitbit is on your wrist. It can't measure heart rate when it's on your wrist as accurately as a strap. And they're very poor for gauging your splits with your runners as well. And if you look at the data I get off my Attorre ring for sleep, way more accurate than the Fitbit. So Fitbits are really good for NEAT, encouraging you to do more steps. I wear one here, but they're not so good for trying to get this sort of more in-depth data. If you're looking at getting running splits, Strava is going to be a better way, or the Polar app is better. Heart rate, Polar, or the Attorre ring's best for your heart rate variability. So I hope that that helps. So what we got here? Martin's asking, hi guys, how would you recommend compound lifts above isolation exercises for core and abs?
Okay.
Good question, actually.
That's a good one. It depends, again, what part of the spectrum you're on. So let's say for beginners, for compound lifts, I actually like more isolated exercises, because the weight that you're going to lift for the compound exercise isn't heavy enough to actually smash the abs and make them that strong. So I would definitely incorporate isolated ab exercise and core exercises in. If you're very efficient at the compound lifts, let's say a deadlift, front squat, that type of thing, and you're actually lifting heavy loads, then yeah, your abs are gonna be working really, really well. But like, for example, Josie, I'm working with at the minute, we're bringing up a squat, bringing up a deadlift. She has isolated ab exercises every week for sure. 100%.
Yeah, I think they're worth doing at least once a week. I tend to do one ab exercise a week on my lower body day, but I think beginners need to do them more, because they find it very hard to brace the abdominal wall, keep that neutral spine, especially under load. So couldn't agree with you more. Beginners definitely need more direct abdominal work. Yeah, which is great. So Josie and Sarah are asking, some of the women on the group, in your group, or guys, that are having to drink 4 liters of water a day. Why do some people need to drink 4 liters and other people need to drink 2 liters? Why is that?
Based off body weight, body composition, that type of thing as well. If you use your general 25 kilos per liter, that's fine. But for some people, I believe, if you're looking at blood pressure, if you're looking at all that type of stuff as well, you do need a bit more in terms of hydration. What's happening at the minute as well, heat's going up, people are training, you need more hydration. It's that simple. Yeah. Also, what I'm looking at too, if people are more hydrated, they're less likely to overeat. Yeah. Okay. So
we're running a 7-day challenge at the moment, and one of the girls, Kate Reynolds, she put her food up yesterday. I said, Kate, like, eat some more food. Like, you can have more vegetables than that. She's like, I'm so full from all the water. She's like, she didn't realize that she's actually been dehydrated for the last, few years probably. She's just drinking way more water, and her cravings have just come down.
So here's the thing as well. So if you're looking at blood pressure, one of the things for high blood pressure could be dehydration.
Yeah.
Or let's say, for example, you've got high blood pressure. What's that going to do for your resting heart rate?
Yeah.
It's going to raise it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you could have a resting heart rate of X, Y, or Z, and you just could be, you would need to take dehydration into consideration as well.
Yeah. And what happens? You go to the doctors and you got high blood pressure?
Medication.
Exactly. And a lot of the time it's just hydration. And, we've managed to sort out some clients, high blood pressure, high resting heart rates. Doctors are doing an amazing job, but a lot of these problems can be resolved with lifestyle interventions.
Yeah. It's what people are prepared to do, I think. Like, if people can't do X, Y, and Z lifestyle interventions, then the medication is going to be much better for them for sure. But if you can get a balanced diet, if you can make sure you're hydrated, if you can get your steps in and do the right fitness work, the body can really, really do well,
Yeah. So Mike's asking, for a runner, how long should their off season be, and how would you generally structure a week to build strength endurance while not losing running performance? Well, it's a great question, because I think I have a lot of the footballers in, and I've got 4 to 6 weeks in the off season. I think the longer the off season, the more in depth and more detailed you can be with the periodization. You can start a bit further away and have a bit more of a run up. The way I look at an off season is like, imagine you're cycling and trying to do a big jump on like a BMX or whatever it is. If you have a short sprint, you're only going to go so far. If you can have a really long run up, the trajectory and the height that you can reach is going to be a lot higher. And I think that's the same with the off season. So the longer the off season you have available, the better. You can lay down more strength, you can have better structural balance, you can get leaner, you can sort out health markers sooner. And if you haven't got very long, as a coach, I think you've got to just pick the biggest bang for buck and just do what you can in the period of time you've got to get the job done. I know, Gav, you've had a bit of some of your fighters, they've given you 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's not long.
Yeah. So how do you deal with that? I think one of the biggest tips people can take on from this is don't get out of shape. Don't be the Ricky Hatton of boxing. Don't be the Ricky Hatton of athletics or whatever your sport is. Keep your baseline fitness.
Yeah.
I always, as soon as my football season finishes, I always keep running once or twice a week, just to keep that baseline energy system working. I think it's a lot easier to do that than just to let it all go and then trying to start from scratch.
Yeah, I'm speaking to one of my fighters at the minute, and all we're working on now, we're taking advantage of the aerobics that we can do at the minute, because there was a potential of a British championship fight potentially, but now it's looking like he might not fight until later on in the year, maybe Christmas time potentially. So, okay, no problem. Let's take advantage of all the time we have right now. When we can get into the gym and use weights, we will. But at the minute, let's look at aerobics. Let's get your aerobic base up. And then from there, we can start to work you more anaerobically, because when we're looking at this individual in that I'm talking about, he needs to be able to sort of work on that anaerobic output a lot more. Mindset-wise, if he can do that, he can go all out, because the power's there, the strength's there. It's just unleashing it consistently, time and time again through the rounds. And that's what. And again, moving back to Mike, it's like looking at Mike at the moment. We actually do it like he's done his first speed session the way I've written it, and we only did 6. We did 6 reps of sprints, and he was gasping. And next weight, so we're actually giving him pure speed, only for 60 seconds, but we're trying to improve that speed output over and over again, and then the volume and the speed work changes as we go further towards the race. So we bring him back to where he needs to be. But he was like 6. He was gasping for air.
I've written Tommy's program for the off season now, because he doesn't know when his football season is going to start. My brother, and he's doing double days: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday's a double day. He couldn't do his weight session in the afternoon on Tuesday because he did 6 200-meter sprints. He's supposed to do 7. He could only do 6. He didn't even get onto the 100 meters. He said he just felt sick, and that was with 5 minutes rest in between 200-meter sprints. But he is going flat out.
Yep, that's it. It's like I try and liken it to strength training, because if you're going to do 1 RM or a 2, like the fucking weight is heavy.
Yeah.
Right. If you're going to lift that weight again, you're going to need as much recovery as possible for the nervous system to recover, to allow you to lift that weight as close to perfect as possible every time. So if you're going to hit that speed again, you're going to need as much recovery as possible. And then you start to bring potentially the rest periods down minimally at a time every. So that's one variable you can change.
Yeah.
You can change the amount of reps that you do on a weekly basis. Depends what you're looking for, but there's ways you can periodize it where you get the response that you want, but you have to repeat that sprint as fast as you can and get as close to that time as you can, and then you work off the drop-off point.
Yeah. So
in terms of, what was the question from Mike though? What was he?
So how long should an off-season be? I think he asked.
It depends what races you're going for, because if you're doing race after race after race, then it's going back to the fighter thing. If we're looking at staying in shape for those races or those fights, we have to make sure we're working on your weaknesses to make sure they're not going to be a detrimental effect.
Yeah.
In terms of strength training, like if you're running, I'm not going to give you loads of strength training, because it's going to take away the time that you can improve your runs or stay fit.
Yeah, exactly.
So on that point, I would just drop the weight training down to once, twice a week, lower volume, maximal strength work, so you can recover from it. So I'm not overloading you with volume at that strength, and then I'd allow your running to go off and do what it needs to do to improve your run. The longer away from that, well, now we can do more strength training, put running on maintenance, and then we build and then swap them over the closer we get to the run time. That's how I would work.
Josh, that's great. Thanks. Josh is asking, bringing up lagging body parts, does training a muscle every day make it huge by increasing the nuclei in the muscle cells? Josh, you're already huge, my man. Can't get any bigger, mate.
Every day, you can do things like squat holidays, that type of thing. If you're looking to improve a lift-wise, I think you can, but I would only maximize that over a week.
Small block routine, is it? The squat is it a small block routine?
Yeah, you're training like the high frequency style stuff, but like you can only do that for so long. Like you got to back off that, like unless you're using drugs or whatever.
Yeah.
But like in terms of training every day, remember
I bet.
Muscle isn't built in the gym. You can lay down the foundations to get the builders in to start laying the foundation down, so to speak. But if you're going to keep them working whilst you train, they're not laying the blocks up to build the house.
Yeah.
You need to let them rest and then build it. So you actually build muscle when you rest, not when you work.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to really take that into consideration. Now, if you're looking to bring up a body part, remember you have to down regulate the other body parts to allow the volume on the body part you want to bring up to go up.
Yeah.
So that's where your calorie balance has to be in check. That's where you need to monitor the whole volume of the week so you can recover and put all of the materials towards the muscle you want to build.
Yeah.
If you just constantly put in sets for everything and just building it all up, then all of the materials to build muscle is going everywhere and you're not actually bringing anything up.
So, for example, Gavin, if it's 12 sets for quads, 12 sets for posterior chain, 12 sets for pecs, 12 sets for back, what you could do is reduce the quads to 6 sets, and that will give you 6 sets to potentially add to back if you wanted to. Or you could put 3 on chest and 3 on back if you were very sort of lower body heavy and you wanted to develop your upper body.
Exactly. So now your calories can be best. They're not going to go towards sort of the lower body then because there's not enough stimulus. The maintenance is there, and then you can put more calories towards your other body parts, that type of thing, if you want to look at it that way.
Ravi is asking, when should you have an active recovery day, like yoga, or a full-on rest day? Just steps. Well, we kind of just answered that just now, how important rest is.
Yeah. So go on, you go.
Okay, my setup at the moment is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday with my resistance training. And then on a Wednesday, yesterday morning, I did yoga. And then in the night, then I went for a nice, very slow 45-minute jog, keeping my heart rate at a nice low level. And I woke up this morning, and even though I trained twice yesterday, I feel ready to go because yesterday's sessions were very low intensity, controlled, which is great. So it's down to you and your ability to recover. It depends how hard and how often you're training. But I do like clients to have at least 2 full rest days a week if they can. But on those rest days, they hit their yoga. They might do a nice, slow, steady state swim or row. And they certainly go for a nice walk and hit their steps.
Yeah, same. Like I keep an eye on things in terms of what I'm doing. I don't let HRV dictate what I do to a certain extent. Like if I come in at a 4 on HRV, it's not the fact that I don't train. I'll probably download a bit on that day, still get a little bit of work in. But it also depends on how I feel. So if I come in at a 4, it's telling me that my body's going through something. But if I feel good, I'll just download the volume, still get some kind of activity in.
Yeah.
Might be less sets if I'm doing strength training. It might be lower volume if I'm doing steady state work, or lower heart rate zones if I'm doing steady state work or interval work. And then if I feel like shit, I'm not going to do anything. I'll just hit my steps, make sure I got my hydration on point. Do you know what I mean? Like it depends how you feel too. So just because HRV says something, you have to listen to your body as well.
Yeah. No, perfect. Okay, I think that's all the questions. Let me just have a double check. What's your plans for the rest of the day now, Gav?
So what am I doing now? I'm organising a blood draw for Beth. We've got some tests for Beth coming up over the next week, so we're organising pickups for bloods and stuff for Beth.
Yeah.
Speaking of phlebotomist under the house on Monday. I've then got my niece's birthday.
Yeah.
So cake, but I'm going to try and get a weight training session in. Before that, I got up this morning, did 30 minutes on the rower, really, really low and steady. So I'm going to do some strength training later on.
Yeah.
My niece's birthday after that, some cake, and then I'm learning Italian. I'm going through some Italian stuff with Amelia, so we can go back to Italy when we get the flights back and everything's settled down a little bit. We'll get over there and just start getting her speaking Italian over there a bit.
Oh, amazing! So how's your Italian coming on? Is it getting there?
Mate, when I stay there for a few weeks, I'm all right. I pick it up really quick again, and I used to speak it really well when I was young. But going back there for a while, and you lose confidence a little bit. So I've got something on the computer which we can do it. I want to do it every day for at least an hour. So I want to immerse myself in it. So I'm constantly using it instead of doing like an hour a week type of thing. I think if with sort of languages, if you immerse yourself a little bit more. So I liken it to like if you're teaching a kid how to speak, you don't teach the kid how to read and write first. You just talk, right? So that's that's my thought process on it. Just speak and just get involved in it. Don't worry about how you sound, and if you make mistakes, just start talking and learning from the mistakes you're making when you're talking, and just use it every day. Yeah. I think that the more you do that, the quick you pick it up. Like if I go back there for a month, I'll pick it up really quick. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I want to get on it every day if I can.
Perfect. Right. I think everyone's enjoyed that. We haven't had any other questions come in. Guys, we will try and do this once a week. I think it is better doing it for everyone. We get more questions. Everyone gets more value. I've recommended a book to Nikki. She's been struggling a little bit with habit forming. She knows she needs to do things, but she hasn't been able to do them. So she's loving the book I recommended on last night's live as well. Josie loved that. Jackie loved that. So it's good. We'll try and get this done at least once a week, guys. So whenever you're doing it in your group, Gav, give me a shout, and we can put all the questions on you. And I think everyone will get more value there.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. Members are okay with that, guys. Have a great day, and we'll speak to you all soon.
See you later.
Bye.